In this video, guys, we will set up the FishNetwork. So let me show you. You can go to the asset store. This is a free asset till now. It's a new asset made by the First Gear. He has a channel on YouTube. He's playing with mirror networking and others networking for a time now. And he decided to make the FishNetwork. I do not have any participation with that, but I will try to use it. And it's free. I already add to my assets, so you must be logged in. And I will open it inside Unity. Here just import it. And I will import with the examples because we can study the examples too. There are several examples that shows a few parts of the networking thing, like ownership, for example. So we can study each one this case and apply to our games. It took me a minute to download it, to import it. So I close this window and I rename this scene here to login scene. The backend part is set up. The basics of the network. The backend part is already set up, but we'll come to it in the future to add new functionalities when the time comes. I will create a scene here called game, and inside this window we'll play and make our game. For now, just create a plane, crown it to the ground. Let's reset the position. Let's scale 10 and put it 1. Let's go to there. Okay. I will create empty game object here, called game manager. I think that network manager. We already have a network manager in the package of the FishNetwork. We need to bring it to the scene. So we'll delete this game object. Of course, this network, you will make all the hard stuff for us. Here is this canvas here to the 7, the client side, so we can get inside the game pressing these buttons. And in the network manager, here we have another script, the spawn, that you can spawn our player here in this case, and here other game objects that we can spawn in the world beside the player. In the future we'll play with this, but for now we'll just play with the player prefab. So to do this, we'll create a capsule collider, a capsule game object, capsule, call it player for now, reset the position, bring it to 1. This will be our player. For the network to see our player, we need to put a component, FishNetwork component here, object, a network object. I like to think this network object like an ID that the government, in this case the network manager, can register us in the system and know that we exist Another component we need to put here is a transform, network transform. This network transform, it's needed because it will register the movimentation of the player inside the game. So when the player makes some translations inside the game, and rotations, and I think they scale too. When it happens, we will synchronize it along the network, so other players can see the movimentation of the player. In here we are not synchronizing the animations. In this moment we have none, but in the future we'll change this capsule to a character, so we need to synchronize an animation. In that moment we will use another component to network this animation. So it's very simple, just it's very simple, made to use by the first gear, because it's just putting the components here. Just to make the first setup is very easy. And I will show you, I have a document here that I'm creating. Of course, the documentation of the Fishnetwork is good too, but I like always to make my own documentations with some examples, my own words, even that my words are a little wrong sometimes, but it's a way for me to understand what is happening. So if you want to have this document, just become my Patreon. In my Patreon page, I'm putting all the files and packages of the Unity here, so you can follow along. So if you don't want to follow the backend part, you can just come to here and become my Patreon and download this part where we start using the Fishnetwork, and all will be set up for you from this point of and on. But as I was talking to you, this document has several annotations that you can follow along. There are some scripts too that we can, simple scripts of course, that we can follow to make the first setup. So if you get interested, just become my patron. Let's unpack the network manager. Unpack completely. Let's create a folder here called prefabs. And let's drag our player to the prefabs folder. Delete from here. In the network manager, we need to tell it who is the player. So this is the player. And now if we press the play button, start the server, it will tell us that the server is start. And let's get as a client, and then we have the first network player. So congratulations, this is like that. We can create a script. So I'll call it, create a folder here called the player, and I'll create a script called movement. Let's open the player and add the controller, character controller. We will create our script based on this character controller. It's already in the prefab. Every time we work with the Fishnetwork, we need to change the mono behavior to network behavior. This is from the, we can import it here from using fish network behavior. Oh, we can, I'm sorry, it's not what I meant. Need the object. Inside this object, of course, this is a mono behavior too. Here we need to grab the character controller. let's create a float variable called vertical and horizontal. Let's create a vector 3 called movement. In the start, we grab the controller using the get component character controller. We create a function in here, a void movement I call it player movement because the class is already movement, and let's call it from the update. Inside here we can assign the vertical to the get input.get axis. The axis will the vertical, Ctrl C, Ctrl V, horizontal, and here horizontal. Now we apply it to the movement. So movement will receive a new vector 3 with the vertical, the horizontal. We multiply it by time.delta-time, and let's create a variable here to be our speed. This will be a serialized field, float speed. Let's multiply by speed. Let me set it to 5 for now. And here we can use the controller, the last variable that we need to use, that move. And this function needs a vector that is the motion, that is the movement we have. Let's save it, go to Unity, apply the movement script to the player. The speed is already 5. Let's play the game. Start the server, start the client, and the X is wrong. Let's put 1 here, or 0. Let's put 0. Start the server, start the client. Opa. Forward, backwards. I think we need just to change. I just want the vertical to be here and here to be horizontal. Now we'll be good. Start the server, start the client. Now everything is working as we want, and we have the player movement. Let us build the game. So let's do the build. Don't forget to add the open scene because we are just with the login scene. I will uncheck the login because we just need to see the game. And let's press the build and run button. We need to create a folder here, call it build. Select this folder and I come back when it's done. I will start the server here. Start the server, start the client. Let's go to the game. Let me come back to the right, to the left here. I will start the server. I will join as a client here because the server is already done. Allow it. And now we try to move, and this happened. We are moving the both client and the server game objects. So let's come here. We need to tell the server that who is the owner of this, so we can use the client here, then we can require ownership and put it to go equal to true. This is telling the server that this code will run on the client and not in the server. So each client will run this this function, this method, but will not run in the other client. So each client will run in on machine, but will not run on the other machines. So now we can save it and we can rebuild the game. Now we press build and run from here. Now we can start the server here, start the client. I put it to the left, start as a client, and now I can move my player, and it's synchronized through the network. So let's show you. I will put my player here to the other side, on the middle, and coming back here, my player to this side, and we are synchronized on the internet, and our multiplayer is set up. So if you like the video, please give a like to the video, subscribe to the channel, and I see you in the next one. Cheers!